Welcome to Royal Daily Report, where truth has a voice and every story matters. Stay sharp, stay focused. Your update begins now.
For years, everyone thought Prince Harry would protect Meghan Markle, no matter what. He left his home, his royal titles, and even his family, just to be with her. But now, something has changed. Inside the royal family, there's a quiet problem growing, one caused not by Meghan, but by Harry himself. Because in a surprising move, Harry recently made a decision that caught Meghan off guard and showed problems in their marriage that can't be hidden anymore. Harry says it all began years ago with one email, one sentence, one slip of the truth that showed the whole fake story they built their marriage on. And once you understand what that sentence really meant, the whole story looks different. This isn't just a marriage with problems. This is a marriage built on shaky ground, and the trouble has finally started. Now, let's go back to where the problems first showed up. It was February 2018. The world didn't know it yet, but inside the palace, something weird was happening. Prince Harry had sent an email, a formal, official one, that later became evidence in court. Most people thought the email was normal, simple, protective, nothing strange. But hidden in the words was one sentence that changed everything. Harry wrote, "I can't begin to tell you what it will say about the royal family if this isn't fixed before the baby arrives and the wedding." At first it seems harmless, responsible even. But the people who read that email carefully felt something wrong in their hearts, because there was one very big problem. In February 2018, there was no baby, no announcement, no pregnancy showing, no talk about it, nothing. So why was Harry writing about the baby arriving months before the wedding when no pregnancy had ever been announced? There were only two possible explanations. One, Harry was imagining a future baby, speaking with hope. Or two, Harry believed a baby was already coming right then. And from the way his email sounded, the hurry, the worry, the almost panicked tone, it didn't sound like hope. It sounded like a man trying to fix a problem before the world found out. That single line hidden inside that single email became the spark, the tiny mistake that showed a much bigger truth, a truth Harry never meant to reveal. Because if Meghan told Harry she was pregnant, then everything that happened next suddenly makes sense. Once that email reached the palace workers, confusion spread quietly through the halls. Meghan had supposedly told Harry she was expecting. And Harry, emotional, protective, overwhelmed, believed her completely. And why wouldn't he? He was in love deeply, blindly, strongly. But inside the royal staff, something didn't make sense. There were no doctor confirmations, no appointments, no medical reports. Only Harry's urgent voice repeating the same words. "It needs to be solved before the baby arrives." That line echoed through late-night phone calls, planning meetings, quiet whispers in offices. It was as if the entire palace had been pushed onto a schedule they never agreed to follow. And in the middle of it all, Harry grew more desperate. He wasn't acting like a prince. He was acting like a man racing against time. A man who believed everything could fall apart if the world discovered the truth too early. Every decision became urgent. Every conversation became tense. Every delay sent Harry into panic. And behind the scenes, the unspoken question grew louder. If Meghan was pregnant, why couldn't anyone else confirm it? Yet Harry wasn't willing to slow down long enough to ask questions. He trusted what he'd been told. He trusted the woman he loved. And that trust was about to change the entire path of his life. The speed of Harry and Meghan's engagement shocked even royal experts. They'd known each other for barely a year when Harry insisted the wedding must happen not next year, not later, but as soon as possible.
Royal marriages usually move like ice. Slow, careful, traditional, background checks, family approvals, plans that take years. But Harry pushed everything into a 6-month rush, a record-breaking hurry. Staff were confused. Senior helpers whispered behind closed doors. Even the Queen, calm and steady as always, asked for explanations more than once. And always the same pressure point came up. It needs to be done before the baby arrives. That phrase became the driving force of the wedding. The reason decisions were made at lightning speed. The reason rules were bent. The reason the palace scrambled. Meghan appeared calm, polished, glowing. Harry appeared tense, emotional, frantic. Behind the perfect photos and smiling interviews, another picture was forming. A prince racing toward a wedding he felt he had no choice but to complete. A wedding built not on time or tradition, but on urgency, on fear, on a secret no one could confirm but Harry desperately believes. And this moment, this rush, became the foundation of everything that would go wrong later. Because if the baby that pushed Harry toward the wedding never existed, then the love story he thought he was protecting might never have existed either. By March 2018, something strange happened inside the palace. The whispers stopped. The urgency that once pushed every royal schedule into chaos suddenly faded away. Meetings that were once frantic became quiet again. Staff who were running at full speed just weeks earlier now stood confused, wondering why the baby emergency they'd been told to prepare for was no longer being talked about at all. It was as if the entire crisis had disappeared overnight. According to quiet rumors inside royal circles, Meghan had told Harry she'd lost the baby, a personal heartbreak the public never heard about. But others noticed the dates didn't match, not even close. If Meghan truly had been expecting in late 2017, the due date should have been somewhere around mid-2018. Yet no hints, no announcement, no physical signs ever appeared at the wedding in May. Then something even more confusing happened. Harry didn't act like a man sad about a loss. He acted like a man relieved that the storm had passed. The pressure he put on everyone else seemed to lift, but the reason behind it remained wrapped in silence. Staff noticed, the Queen noticed, and those who had been closest to the situation began to quietly ask themselves the same question. Was there ever a baby at all? Because when Archie was born in May 2019, almost 2 years after the supposed early pregnancy, the math simply didn't work out, not even a little. There was no possible way that the 2017 pregnancy and Archie were connected. This is the moment the palace realized something important. The urgency that once controlled Harry might not have been based on reality, but on belief. And belief, especially when tied to love and fear, can be the strongest form of control of all. If the disappearing pregnancy created questions, Meghan's behavior created even more questions. People inside the palace started noticing a pattern, almost like a plan in how she acted in different situations. She had 3 clear ways of handling any moment, like switching faces depending on what she needed most. Face 1, the victim. When she wanted sympathy, she knew how to soften her voice, widen her eyes, and present herself as overwhelmed, misunderstood, or mistreated. This earned Harry's protection instantly. She knew that he had always carried emotional pain, especially from losing his mother. Any sign of someone being hurt pulled him in like a magnet. Phase 2, the partner. When she wanted loyalty, she stepped into warmth and connection. She acted like she and Harry were a team against the world. Every decision became ours. Every disagreement with the palace became them versus us. And Harry, already feeling distant from the royal family, naturally followed her lead. Phase 3, the star. When she wanted power, she turned on her shine. The confidence, the charm, the presence, the way she captured cameras and conversations. This wasn't just confidence, it was a plan. It helped her carve a space inside the royal story that no newcomer had ever managed to carve. And Harry, he changed depending on which vase she wore. When she cried, he defended. When she bonded, he followed. When she glowed, he faded. People around him noticed a change. A prince who once felt stable was now reacting emotionally to every shift in Meghan's tone. She had found the combination that unlocked his choices, and she used it with precision. Every time palace staff questioned something, every time rules pushed back.
You've been watching Royal Daily Report. Like, share, and subscribe, because informed minds shape a stronger future. See you in the next report.